In this Star Wars Outlaws news update video, I will be sharing with you the roadmap that has just dropped for future content patches. We have dates, we have details, and so much more to get through. But before we do take a look at it, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on Star Wars Outlaws. So, Ubisoft surprised us last night by being very transparent and revealing a detailed roadmap complete with dates of various patches and more. So, Ubisoft surprised us last night by being very transparent and revealing a detailed roadmap complete with dates of various patches and more. On their social channels, they posted this message saying, "Our team is currently working hard to address your feedback and deliver new content. More title updates will be heading your way in the coming weeks, along with the release of our first story pack on November 21st. Stay tuned for more information soon." Then they gave us a roadmap in the form of this image, with actual dates for patches, which is not very common in the gaming industry, especially for patches that aren't the next ones up. The next update we'll be getting releases next week on Thursday, October 3rd. The key focus of this update is said to be bug fixes and improvements according to the roadmap, and this is title update 2. So don't expect any new content, but this is to address hopefully a large number of bugs and other improvements. And then just 3 weeks later, on Thursday, October 24th, there will be title update 3, and this is going to be focusing on quality of life improvements. As for what those quality of life improvements are, we don't know just yet, but if I did have to give an educated guess, it would be things like improvements to the button remapping and things like that, stuff that Julian Garrity, the game's creative director, has confirmed would be happening at some point. I also wanted to speculate that this might be the update that updates the in-game store to have more cosmetics. So in case you aren't aware, I did make a video a few weeks ago, but basically there is this Endor themed set right now that's only available for those that purchase a new 40 series GPU from Nvidia. But in the terms and conditions, it does state that 60 days after Star Wars Outlaws releases, this item will be in the in-game store for anyone to purchase. So you won't have to purchase an Nvidia graphics card just to get this cosmetic item. So it's exclusive for 2 months. 60 days after August 30th is Tuesday the 29th of October. So maybe it won't go live on that day. They're just putting it in the patch and then it goes live after that, or we have to wait until the following update. I don't know, but I just thought I'd point that out anyway, because I think people have seemed to have forgotten that there is going to be some sort of updates to the in-game store at some point. For all we know, it could be delayed until Title Update 4, which I will get onto now. So a month after Title Update 3, we will be getting a big new update once again, and this won't just include improvements to the game, but also brand new content. The key focus for Title Update 4 are combat and stealth improvements, but there will also be new content in the form of free additional contracts for every player. This is not paid DLC, it's a free update that includes new content. It just so happens to launch on the same day as Story Pack 1, which is Wildcard, the story featuring Lando Calrissian on a casino ship and working for the Empire. We also got this new piece of artwork, which is going to be the key art for this pack, and as you can see, it shows Kay holding some Sabacc cards, Lando, ND5 in the background, and a new character, which is some sort of droid. Now, this artwork is not very high resolution because it's just a small section of this compressed social media image, but I did use AI to upscale it. So it's not perfect, but it does look a little bit sharper at full resolution. And that's not all for November 21st. As I mentioned in my previous video, the game is coming to Steam on that date. That's right, on Thursday, 21st of November, you'll be able to start Star Wars Outlaws on Steam if you wish to do so. Next up is some exciting news if you are looking to get an even better experience on console. So the game was noticed by fans in the PS5 Pro section on the PlayStation dashboard. It is included with this selection of games that have already been confirmed to receive enhancements for the PS5 Pro when it does launch later this year in November. Whilst neither Ubisoft or PlayStation have come out publicly and officially said that Star Wars Outlaws would be getting enhancements on the PS5 Pro, it's in this store listing, so maybe it could just be a mistake on the tagging process, but I'd guess Massive will be updating the game to run even better on PS5 Pro. They have a track record of doing this for their games when new version of a console comes out, and just really being at the cutting edge of technology. So it would not surprise me that title update 4 that launches on November 21st does include optimizations and improvements for the PS5 Pro specifically, as that is after when the console does launch. The reason why they probably have not communicated this at this moment in time is that the game does have the marketing rights deal with Microsoft and Xbox. As you will have noticed, all the marketing is done through Xbox, so given that it will look and perform better on PS5 Pro now, so they might not be allowed to cover that it's coming to PS5 Pro until later down the line. That said, Jedi Survivor did have a marketing deal with Xbox last year. I don't know how long that was in place for, but they did show that game running on PS5 Pro at the latest state of play. Now let's go through some new updates on how the game is doing in terms of sales. So we've just received a bunch of new information. The European gaming charts, which combine all digital and disc copies for August, has just released, and Star Wars Outlaws came in second place, and it only released at the end of August. So on the face of it, that seems good, right? Well, unfortunately, it did sell 50% less than Jedi Survivor if you count just their first weeks of launch, which is a huge drop-off compared to Jedi Survivor, but there are some factors to bring into account here. Jedi Survivor was a sequel to a very popular game. It was an established sub-franchise within Star Wars. This Star Wars Outlaws game is a new franchise, hopefully, within Star Wars. It's new. It did not have 3 years of a game being out prior to build itself upon. Also, many people did purchase Ubisoft Plus for a month to check out the game, and now I'm seeing in my own comment sections, my friends in real life and more, saying now Ubisoft Plus is coming to an end for them. They are actually going to be picking up the game because they're enjoying it so much. So Ubisoft Plus was definitely a big factor, and also Steam as well. The game did not launch on Steam. Jedi Survivor did launch on Steam. Based on what I've seen online, people just don't want to use the Ubisoft Net launcher, and they are waiting for a Steam release. They were going to wait however long it would take for it to come out on Steam. Jedi Survivor was day one on Steam. Now Ubisoft have announced the date, November 21st, for a Steam release. People are happy to buy the game on November 21st, so that's also another factor to take into consideration, even though most people do play on console. We also got a reading on how Ubisoft feels internally, so this is coming from Insider Gaming, who published an internal memo from Yves Guillemot, who is the CEO of Ubisoft. So he said Star Wars Outlaws' initial sales did prove softer than expected, so unfortunately it did not meet their expectations at launch, but it did have solid ratings from players, which is agreed upon. We are seeing in my comment sections and on Twitter and the subreddit and Discord that people are loving this game. Once they have given it a go, they actually really do like it. It's not for everyone, of course, but I think the momentum is building for this game. Yves does call out that the team are hard at work on improving things like save issues, stealth mechanics, frequent quest checkpoints, and better NPC AI. So those are the things that we will be getting improvements upon in the upcoming patches. He says that based on these updates, he believes Star Wars Outlaws will significantly improve the player experience by allowing us to deliver on its promise and making Star Wars Outlaws a must-play game and a long-term seller, which, just like Fallen Order did, to be honest, the same could be said about Jedi Fallen Order to an extent. It only scored one more point on Metacritic over Outlaws, and yet many people view Fallen Order as one of the best Star Wars games of all time, if not the best Star Wars game of all time. It also did not sell very well at launch in comparison to other Star Wars games like the Battlefront games. It actually didn't sell a whole lot in the first year. It was when the game was heavily discounted in the following years that people gave it a go. It sold more copies in 2021 through to 2024 than in the first year it was out, which is quite unusual for games these days, especially a Star Wars game. To put it into perspective, Jedi Fallen Order is now the second best-selling Star Wars game of all time, despite not having a huge launch in comparison to other games like the Battlefront games. I don't think Outlaws is going to get the same identical trajectory, but I could see it being a long-term seller because word of mouth is pretty strong on this game, and it's going to have a lot more marketing behind it over the course of the holiday season because now Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed. Ubisoft need this to be a hit. They are going to be pushing it quite a bit through Black Friday and, of course, December. And for almost a decade, Star Wars games and Christmas just work, just like the films did. So I do think it's going to do better in November and December. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything I've talked about in this video, so please do let me know down in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, please do drop a like. Subscribe so you don't miss any future news updates on Star Wars Outlaws. And if you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.